Picture this, you start settling into life in Ireland, everything feels new and exciting until reality hits like unexpected Irish rain. That is, the rent. It's everywhere, in conversations, in complaints, and especially in your bank accounts. At this point, rent does not just cost money, it costs peace of mind. We are Group 55, and like everyone else, we kept hearing the same thing. It's too expensive, I can't save, where does all my money go? But instead of just agreeing, we turn to data. Because opinions are loud, but data tells the real story. So, is rent truly the biggest expense in Ireland, or is just the easiest one to blame? Let's find out.
In 2025, the average rent across all property type in Ireland is about 1,500 per month. That's roughly 300 euros more than what renters were paying in 2020. That means renters are now paying 3,600 more every year, which is almost like paying for an extra holiday just without holidays. So this raises an important question. Has renting in Ireland become difficult to afford? Let's look at the map. This map shows average rent across countries in 2025. Dublin clearly stands out as the most expensive, which at this point is not surprising. But if we look beyond Dublin, many other countries that are in the darker blue are also showing high rents level. So the issue is not just where rent are highest, is that high rents are becoming more common across the countries, leaving fewer truly affordable options. So to understand this better, let's look at this trend now. This chart shows how rents have changed from 2020 to 2025. From 2020 to 22, the line is quite flat, so rent were increasing slowly. After 23, the line rises more steeper, so which is not good. It shows that demand is increasing, but supplies did not keep up. So the problem is not just that rent are high today. It's that they are rising much faster now, making it harder for renter to keep up.
Now let's compare Dublin with the rest of the Ireland. In 2025, average rent in Dublin is around 2,200 euros per month, while the rest of the Ireland is closer to 1,200 euros. That's a difference of about 1,000 euros every month, which is a significant gap even before considering other living costs. But what more important is that both are increasing over time. So while Dublin remains the most expensive, rent levels across the rest of the county are also rising steadily. This shows that the problem is not just about one city, it's becoming a national issue. When we look at the rent growth across counties, some of the fastest increasing are not in Dublin. Counties like Longford and Crawlow have seen strong growth over this period. So it's just no longer a simply saying just move somewhere cheaper because those options are also becoming limited. This highlights the problem is spreading, not staying in one place.
Now let's look at affordability because this is where things start to feel a bit personal. If you focus on one bedroom rentals, the national average has increased from around 700 euros to 1000 euros from a span of 5 years from 2020 to 2025. At the same time, wages have also increased, but even with higher wages, rent still takes up a large share of the income. In many cases, a one bedroom home can take close to half a person's monthly earning, which means after paying rent, your bank account basically says that's enough financial activity for this month. So technically, yes, people are earning more, but it doesn't always feel like it. Because once rent is paid, everything else starts to feel like a luxury, including things like savings, hobbies, sometimes even social life. So while the numbers suggest improvement, the reality of many renters feel very different. So what does all of this actually mean? The data clearly shows that Ireland's rental problem is not just about high prices, it's also about how quickly those prices are rising and how widely the impact is being felt. Based on this, our recommendation is pretty clear. Housing policies should not only focus on Dublin. There needs to be a stronger effort to increase the supply of affordable housing across all countries, especially smaller units like one bedroom homes. Because right now, demand is growing faster than supply, and housing is not something people can simply decide to use less of. And unlike things like streaming subscriptions or takeaway coffees, this isn't an expense you can just cut your back on and hope everything works out. So, if nothing changes, this gap between income and rent will only continue to grow. And for many people, affordability will become less of a challenge and more of a barrier. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening.